What did the Cowboys show you last night without Dak Prescott getting it done?
Well, this was a total team win, Skip. The offense is a fine oil machine. I think Amari Cooper stepped up last night and showed you I'm still the big dog. I'm still the chief operating officer here. Let's not get that confused. I know the young gun is coming, but I'm still Amari Cooper. I'm still the number one receiver. Skip, if you look at it, this game, you can just sum this game up. It's 3rd and 11. They check the ball down. They say, you know what, we get the field goal, we'll play for overtime. And what does Zeke do? Run through 2 tackles, get the first down, move the chain 50 yards, 50 seconds on the clock, they throw the touchdown to Amari Cooper. You kind of got a sense, Skip, on that last drive, the guy had an opportunity for an interception. The ball hits him in his chest. Amari Cooper somehow catches it and runs down the field. So that was foreshadowing of a sign to come. But I would be very remiss. This game was one on the defensive side of the football. They held them, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to make sure this stat is correct, Skip. 1 for 13.
That is correct.
On 3rd down.
1 of 13.
That's 7%. Even when Cooper Rush turned the football over, Skip, the defense says, nah, I think we're going to sack you guys. We're going to push you back out of field goal range.
Yep.
And that was the difference in the ball game. And Cooper Rush played well enough, Skip. He made enough throws. Now, I thought CeeDee Lamb had him doomed on that one, Skip, because CeeDee wanted to run before he even had the football, and he just kept running to the sideline.
It looked like a big mistake.
It looked like a big mistake. But, Skip, give Cooper Rush credit. 20 of 40, 325, the long touchdown to Cedric Wilson. Skip, this team reminds me, I was watching them last night, and I was saying to myself, man, this team reminds me of 98. Because John Elway tweaked his hamstring in the second game of the season.
Yep.
We had to play like 4 or 5 games with Bubby Brister and Skip. We didn't miss a beat. We just knew offensively what we had from TD to myself, Ed, Rod. Offensive line was sensational, and we didn't miss a beat. Held the fort down.
Where had Bubby been before he came to you?
Bubby was at the Jets. He was at the Jets.
Wasn't he at Pittsburgh?
He started at Pittsburgh.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But he started games for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush had thrown 3 passes in his life in 2017 and completed 1 for 2 yards.
But when you're so talented around him, you don't ask him to do a whole lot. You hit Cedric Wilson, Skip, you catch him in cover 5, 2-man, you split the seam, and Cedric Wilson does the rest. And so that's what he had to do. And it just goes to show you, Skip. I'm watching Dak warm up last night. I'm like, Dak look good to me. That was an indictment on First Cousins. They said, we feel so comfortable starting a guy that hadn't thrown. How many passes you say he thrown?
One. I mean, he completed 3. He completed 1 pass. Okay. That was in 2017.
So that just tells you what they thought about Kirk Cousins. That's what they tell you. But, Skip, this team looked good. We're going to talk about them a little later. But Dallas Cowboys, I'm getting to the point I think I might want to go ahead because I can see, can I buy my bet for like 2 cases?
Seriously?
Yeah, I think I want to buy it.
Well, it's like a 10-case bet. Why would I do it for 2?
3.
I'll do 5 right now. Do you want 5? I'll do 5 to get you out of the NFC least bet that you made. You got you got the field.
Let me see what happens.
All right, we'll see what happens the rest of the show.
Yeah, because the Eagles looked good yesterday.
We will revisit this. What did I tell you from the start? The Eagles were the biggest threat to my Cowboys, and who had the best QBR of the week this week? Jalen Hurts. I told you. You didn't listen to me.
They did play the Lions.
Okay, they did play the Lions. What's left of the Lions. My turn.
Okay.
I will be the first to admit I was wrong about my Cowboys last night because I told you on Friday, I actually told you all week long that if Dak can't go, which I kept telling you, I don't think he's going to play. All the tea leaves read to me, not going to play. But I told you if Cooper Rush starts this game, they will lose this game to Kirk Cousins at Minnesota.
Right.
And yet, I have been right about my team from day one of this season. I have told you this team is different. This team has a swagger I haven't seen since the 90s. This team has a meant-to-be-ness about it that I haven't felt since the 90s when I covered the dynastic Dallas Cowboys of Jimmy Johnson and then Barry Switzer. This team is special, different from all the teams that we've talked about here on Undisputed since 2016. This team actually believes it's going to win every game no matter what. You can just see it in their body language. We're going to do this. We're going to figure this out. Somehow, some way, we'll get the bounce, we'll get the break, or we will make the bounce or make the break to win the football game. That's how you get to a Super Bowl for the first time since the 1995 season, which I covered and wrote a book about called Hell Bent. And last night was the classic example of they had every chance to fold, the way every Cowboy team that seems like for years we talked about.
Well, your defense was trying to help them fold.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is they had every opportunity to do Cowboy things.
And they were doing it.
They were doing Cowboy things, but they wouldn't let Minnesota take advantage. Right. So my point is, let's start with Ezekiel Elliott. Look, my team was second in the league in rushing going into this game. And then what happened? Not a lot happened, right?
Right.
They ran for 78 yards against the Minnesota defense.
Skip, you heard Zim said, if Dak doesn't play, I'm going to force their quarterback to beat me. Well, he did.
Who wouldn't?
Exactly.
Yeah, who wouldn't? So Zeke goes 16 carries for 50 yards, which is barely over 3 a carry, which will not win the football game. And I tweeted late in the game, it was starting to feel like the bad old days with Zeke again when you waste downs handing him the ball because he's going nowhere slowly. He started to tiptoe again toward the holes. He wasn't hitting them with the rage he was the 3, 4, 5 games ago.
The opening wasn't there, Skip. If you look at Harrison Smith, Skip, they were playing 8, 9-man box. That's why you had 2 receivers go over 100 yards.
Okay, and he hadn't done anything catching the ball either. He had, what was it? They ran for 78. But the point was he had done nothing until the play in question, which became the play of the game. And this is how you win football games when you shouldn't win the football game. If we could see that, I'm going all the way to the end of the game. This is 3rd and 11 from the 20. You talked about it with 1:04 left. And I thought, OK, let's just take the field goal here. And what happened? This happened. Just a little flip to Zeke, and I'm thinking, oh, well, that's going nowhere. And he runs through 4 Vikings and gets it down to the 5-yard line. Well, there was Zeke running with the old T.O. type rage, right? That was, I will not be denied. And all of a sudden, I'm saying, you're kidding me. We have it 1st and goal at the 5. Then I thought, are we just going to hand it to Zeke and try to bleed the clock out? No. What does Cooper Rush do? Cooper Rush comes out.
Called the fade to Amari.
Yeah, and he audibles to the fade. He said, I'm not going to hand the ball to Zeke when I see Amari one-on-one with the corner.
Yes.
And it was their backup corner, Dantzler, who had been elevated in the starting lineup, and they didn't have much respect for him. And he said, I'm going to throw it to Amari. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I was shocked Amari was in the football game because he had just made 2 huge plays, but then we saw him on the sideline with a Theragun. You know what a Theragun is? And he's working on his hamstring. Then he takes a tennis ball and he's rolling his hamstring. What usually happens on the road to Amari Cooper when he's on the sideline with a hamstring issue? He's gone for the rest of the road game, right? He's notorious for it.
Let me ask you a question. When they audible, what were you thinking? You remember Thursday night? They audible to the fade. And one guy didn't get it.
Which game?
Arizona.
Arizona.
That's it. That's the
that
play.
Game. That was the play. To A.J. Green.
Right.
Just
one was to the left, the other was to the right.
You know what? That's true.
The play.
Okay, that was a fade stop because it was a back shoulder throw. This is your classic over-the-top fade.
But, Skip, here's the thing. A.J. Green missed the check.
He did.
Amari,
he missed the check.
Amari got the check. So, they called a fade. But if Amari had missed the check, it still would have been a moot point.
Right.
The ball would have been out of bounds.
And all of a sudden, we had Cooper to Cooper.
Cooper to Cooper.
Cooper Rush to Amari Cooper. And I'm thinking, wait a second. Did Cooper Rush just throw that ball? Because that was about as sweet as you can throw the fade, right?
It was great timing.
Okay.
It was great timing.
All right. So now let's go back to the top. Cooper Rush didn't play great last night.
No. He played well. He made some timely throws.
He played as well as you could expect Cooper Rush to play with three attempts. He had a QBR of 45 on a scale 0 to 100, so it's a little below average, and that's about what I would give him, a little below average. And he was very shaky in the first half, and at halftime, I thought there was no way that Cooper Rush could win this game. I think Will Grier, their third-string quarterback, is better than Cooper Rush. But they have loved Cooper Rush from the start, although they did cut him And Jason Garrett loved him so much he brought him to New York, but then he cut him and he came back to Dallas.
Right.
But he's grown up in the system. He goes every day running the scout team against this defense, which is getting better and better. And he made enough plays to get them home.
But, Skip, you got to get now. The fumble wasn't his fault. That was Pollard. They got that picked up. Pollard stepped up too far inside, and he let the guy get a running start. And he lucky his quarterback was able to continue because he hit him flush.
Okay, so he had 2 big turnovers.
Yes.
The first one came when he threw, let's see the pick that he threw.
That was a bad read, Skip.
It was just horrible. And I thought, this is how you lose big games on the road. So that's the first one. And guess what happened after that? My defense rose up and said no, because that's usually where you crumble and you say, well, it's not meant to be. And what had just happened before that? They had missed a 43-yard field goal. Zerline had missed it badly. Okay, so now 2 bad things have happened, and the defense rose up twice and said no. And now let's see the sack fumble. And this is where the defense rose up again. Here's the sack fumble. That was just, boy, he got shellacked.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, that's it. The dam just broke. Here we go. Yep, he got ripped. Tony Pollard stepped up and didn't even see.
But Skip, that's the thing.
Blitz.
That's his guy. It's what we call it. You got to scan. Okay, you know, inside to outside. Why would you step up that far when the guy...
Zeke would have picked that one up.
Of course.
And he would have nailed it.
But, Skip, that's where you have to have peripheral. You're looking inside, but you see this guy, and if he comes, I got him.
Okay, and then what happened? My defense rose up again and shut down Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you win games. That's ultimately how you win championships. Do you remember last year, my defense was historically bad.
Yes.
It couldn't stop the run. It really couldn't stop anything.
Oh, they definitely would have gave up touchdowns on that interception.
And usually it's demoralizing when you go missed field goals, interception, sack fumble. You get demoralized. We got to go back out there again. We got to try to stop him again. But they stopped him again. And guess who was the breakout star once again of the night game? It was the guy you saw coming before I did. It was Micah Parsons.
He was all over the field.
He was all over the field. It's 11 from heaven. Number 11 had, guess what? Fittingly, 11 tackles, which led all defenders. 11 tackles?
Yes.
So our friend Wayne sent me a picture of a jersey that Micah signed for him. He's become the biggest Micah fan. Sent it to him.
I know Weez ain't no Cowboy fan now.
You know what? He's admitted to me, he calls them the Cowgirls. Forgive us for that. It's not politically very correct, but it's Wayne. He's done this for years and years. They're the Cowgirls. But he admits to me he has been completely won over by Micah. I told you on his birthday trip where he went all around the country seeing big games, he went out of his way to go to Dallas versus Philadelphia just to see if Micah was for real. And he got him to send him a signed jersey. And he signed it with a hashtag Stix City, Stix, S-T-I-X, because it's 1-1. Remember, our man LeVar Arrington wore 1-1 at Penn State. Okay, so he's 11, Stix City. So now his new hashtag is hashtag Stix City. And he was sticking people all over the field.
He was.
And I have doubted using him as some kind of roving monster linebacker, but he is a monster. And last night it actually worked because he was literally all over the field.
Skip, you have to keep him on the field. Now, you have to realize your best pass rushers, hopefully when he comes back and he's able to get some kind of, is D-Law and Randy Gregory. Well, Skip, in a pass rush third down situation, I can't take those guys off the field. So what I have to do is find a way to keep Micah Parsons on the field. So I'll just let him roll. Hey, I line him up over the guard. Hey, do whatever, but I just need you to get to places. And that's what they did last night. They lined him up in a conventional linebacker stance and just let him track all over the field. He has that kind of ability. He has that kind of uniqueness where he can play a hybrid, a lot of different positions, and be good at a lot of them.
And he has that kind of nose for football. He just smells it, sees it, chases it. He's always in the middle of where the football is.
But Skip, I was concerned that Minnesota was wasting these opportunities because I was like, the Cowboys defense has been really good on third down. And you look at it, Skip, that's an opportunity because now you're getting 4 cracks and they kept going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. I'm like, you know what? You can't keep squandering these opportunities. And at the half, you like a game that Minnesota should have been dominating, should have been up at least a touchdown, maybe 2.
I agree.
And I think they were tied, weren't they?
No, it's 10-3.
10-3. But Dallas had to feel good. Like, we hadn't even played anywhere close to our best football.
Okay, and then what happened coming right out of the half? Cedric Wilson happened. He is a playmaker. And again, Kellen Moore called another brilliant game to me, but they said they had worked on this play all week. And Cooper Rush said, as soon as I saw the defense, I knew we had this if I could make the throw.
Right.
And if we could see, this goes 73 yards to Cedric Wilson. And he split it, and he got it home. And he can run after catch now, because that was some sweet moves, because he outmaneuvered all three of them just by weaving.
Yep. Caught him in the perfect defense.
Yep.
Safety split early and off to the races.
And Cooper Rush didn't miss the throw.
No, that's the thing, Skip. You can't miss it, because you got a layup.
You got a layup.
Don't blow it.
I didn't know if you had a touchdown layup. I thought you might have a 50-yard layup, but I didn't know you had a 73-yard touchdown layup. And all of a sudden, it's a football game, because now it's 10-10. So then they trade field goals back and forth. And then let's go to the first big Amari play. This is with 2:46 left in the game. This is lucky. It's the play that you talked about, because this ball to Amari is not a great idea, because it's pretty covered.
Right.
It is highly interceptable.
Yeah.
It is a bad idea play. It is what Pro Football Focus calls a turnover-worthy play. And yet the ball tips up in the air, and Amari stuck with it and stayed with it and took it to the ground as a catch. And I was shocked by it, because when things are going right, they're going right. And things have been going right for for 7 straight games, because they almost beat Brady at Brady. And that's one of those plays where I sat back and I said, you know what? This just might be the year.
Okay. You definitely knew it was your day.
It was a day for sure. And then Amari comes right back on the next play, if we could see this, and he catches an out for 18 yards. And this is the play. He pulled his hamstring on. I don't know what happened. Little quick out. He turns it up, and he does a little juke, and something felt a little shaky. And he's over on the sideline, and he's using a Theragun. Then he used a tennis ball to roll it. And he's trying to stretch it out. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking, well, he's done. So, and Gallup's not back yet. And so I thought,
they're not rushing Gallup back. You see Wilson, you see Noah Brown, you see them making play. Skip, but Amari looked out on the field like, oh, man, they got a man, that's a practice squad guy. Man, let me go ahead and get this money.
Okay. So now we get to another meant-to-be play. This one happened at the right after the 2-minute warning, to Noah Brown, who's like the 4th receiver. Pretty good. Out of Ohio State. I thought the game ended right here, because I thought Noah caught this, and I thought he got stripped. And I thought, that's it, the game is over. But they got Harrison Smith for illegal hands to the face, and it negated the play. Well, that's it. That's going to be ball game. But he grabbed Blake Jarwin's face mask just briefly, enough that they caught it, they flagged it, and it saved the day, because I think Noah caught it and ran with it. It was a fumble. Okay, so meant to be, needs some breaks. Well, it always happens.
In a game like that, Skip, look, you need some good things to happen in your favor. It happened, the fumble, the ball hit the DB in the chest. It pops up out of his chest. He bobbles it, throws it up in the air. Amari catches it and runs for another 10 yards. That could have possibly ended the game there.
Okay, so let me sum up all the things that were going wrong. Obviously, Cooper Rush had 2 turnovers. How many times do you win a road game when you lose the turnover battle 2-0? Because my defense had been forcing turnovers, it didn't force a turnover. So it was 2-0 in favor of Minnesota, the home team, on turnovers. How often do you think that happens? I don't have the stat in front of me, but not very often.
No.
And again, Zeke had 16 rushes for 50 yards. And before that last catch, he had caught 3 balls for 8 yards until that final 15-yarder. So who saw that coming? Well, here's how they flipped the script. The Cowboys go 7 of 14 on 3rd down, and the defense holds Kirk Cousins to 1 of 13. That's extraordinarily great.
If you show me a team that completes 50%, that's 50% conversion on 3rd down, I'll show you a team with a winning record.
Okay. And my passing yardage was 341 to Kirk Cousins 177. Well, that'll flip the script. And that included a big throw from Cedric Wilson to CeeDee Lamb. And by the way, CD had that huge drop, and I thought that was a killer. I thought that might be the killer of the night, and they kept canceling it out. So all of a sudden, I'm looking at Minnesota's top 4 tacklers last night were all the secondary guys because they were coming up and they were just playing the run like crazy. They were the ones who were shutting down the run.
Right.
So we could not run like we usually run over people. And we had to throw it. He had to throw it, and he threw it enough, and the defense rose up high enough that we pulled off, which what I think was a high degree of difficulty road win.
It was an impressive win. And I'll talk about Cousins in a little bit, Skip. But I think the thing is that Zim says, we know the Cowboys want to run the football. You knew the Cowboys want to run the football, especially starting a quarterback that had only thrown 3 NFL passes. So Zim says, no, you're not going to run the football. If your quarterback throws for 3+, I'm going to walk to the middle of the field and shake his hand at the end of the game. Well, hopefully Zim walked to the middle of the field and shook his hand because that's exactly what he did. You forced him to throw the ball to beat you. He threw the ball and beat you because you look at the guys that he had outside. If my safeties are making all these tackles, that means your corners are locked up one-on-one with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys had to have liked that matchup. Even if they're not back up, even if they didn't just elevate Dantzler from the practice squad. But when you look at their secondary, Skip, they're predicated on pressure. Danielle Hunter went down with a shoulder injury, and they weren't able to get that constant pressure. Everson Griffin did pretty well. After Ty Smith went down, we have to see what's going to go on with him, Skip.
He had an ankle.
But,
by the way, Trevon Diggs went out late with an ankle that's been plaguing him, but they said he was walking fine after the game. I hope so, for Denver's coming to Dallas.
But at the end of the day, Skip, this was an indictment on Kirk Cousins. This is why they didn't start Dak. I put together a couple of throws. Cousins is more concerned about his completion percentage because he did a play last night, and Zim is disgusted. I can just tell the way he's watching the game. Look at this. Skip, why would you throw the ball 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage? But this is the play. Look at this, Skip. Look at Thielen. That's Thielen wide open behind him for the first down, and he takes a 4-yard loss. What are you doing, Cousins? Look at this. I'm like, bruh, Skip, what is that? What is that?
What has somebody over here tried to tell you for 5 years about Kirk Cousins? What have I said? What have I said over and over and over again? You're making my case. Thank you for making my case. He is Kirk Cousins. We have always owned him. He is now lucky to be 2-8 against Dallas. Dak is 4-1 against Kirk Cousins. Now, if you give that sort of a Dak Cooper Rush game,
I'm 1-0.
Yeah, he's 1-0.
I'm 1-0
right?
again.
2-8 against Dallas. And that one game that he won at Dallas in the 2018 run, I told you Dak was on fire, and they suddenly started giving the ball to Zeke when they got it down to 2nd and 2 at the 11-yard line going in to win the game.
Skip, I think Minnesota knows. I think Zim knows that. Like you said, you like to give somebody true serum. He knows he can't win a championship with Cousins.
What did I tell you about Kirk Cousins when they paid him all that? Remember, it was $84 million.
Fully guaranteed.
I said the most overpaid quarterback in the history of the National Football League, and he has proven to be just that.
Yep. Okay.
He was awful yesterday.
This was not fun.
He looked awkward and awful.
I have no comment about Kirk Cousins and the Vikings because I think you guys said it all too well.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.